All right, guys, welcome in. Welcome back to Above Ground World News. Tons of stuff to get into, just like every night. Every night there's another state of emergency declared. Every night there's some kind of mass bug invasion or just news coming out that they are fiddling with the weather, which we'll get into that here in a little bit. Irrigation tunnel collapses and cuts off 100,000 acres of farmland in Wyoming and Nebraska. State of emergency declared. Officials in Nebraska and Wyoming are scrambling Thursday to respond to an irrigation tunnel collapse that cut off water to more than 100,000 acres of farmland in both states. So now, on top of the floods, on top of all the missing farmers, we have this going on. It's like they do not want crops to grow whatsoever anywhere. The 14-foot wide tunnel that collapsed is part of the Fort Laramie irrigation canal that runs above and below ground, delivering water from a pool created by the diversion dam on the North Platte River in East Wyoming and western Nebraska. Let me get this on down. So they'll have no chance of rain for quite a while here. Let's see here. So this was a 102-year-old tunnel. Engineers are currently working on a temporary fix to shore up the tunnel. $2 million could take up to 25 days to complete. The collapse caused water to back up on the Wyoming side and burst through the canal's walls. And then the breach flooded nearby farmland and prevented any more water from flowing down the canal. So this thing provides water to about 55,000 acres of farmland. So just more attack on the farmers. The failing infrastructure. This happened a couple days ago. Vancouver waters turned blood red. Tourists and locals were treated to an insanely red harbor in the waters of Vancouver. Some were lucky enough to get pictures of the unusually red water, and it's serious. Looks like some kind of scary movie. Looks pretty nasty to me. I don't know what. Oh, red tide, also known as algae blooms. Things that bloom are usually nice. I'm not certain if this strain is harmful, but I'm in no hurry to fall into it. That's pretty. That's just showing you the signs of the times. I think it says something in the Bible about the oceans and rivers turning blood red. The mainstream's finally starting to come out about these floods. Flooding in Mississippi is devastating farmers in the worst disaster since 1927. And we got some photos here. If it'll work here. And it may not work. Well, I thought we had some photos. I don't know why it's not let me scroll through them. So much of the Mississippi Delta has been submerged under feet of water for months. Water has spread over an area twice the size of New York City. Farmers in their area aren't able to plant in their flooded fields, forcing them to delay planting crops in an already difficult year because of the see, they always got to throw this trade war in with China BS. Tropical Storm Barry did not ravage Louisiana to the extent that forecasters initially predicted. Well, I guess they didn't listen to our forecast, but compounded the effects. But it did flood Arkansas like big time. So this article don't even tell you who actually did get flooded by that. So we're well past the 1993 floods. This is going to be one of the worst disasters of all time. And the mainstream is hiding it now so people can't stock up on food. More strange news coming out of Missouri. Not really strange, but just bad news. A rabid bat was confirmed in Clay County. They confirmed that a bat recently found in Clay County has tested positive for rabies. Rabies is an acute viral infection of the central nervous system that can spread through saliva from a bite or scratch of an infected animal. Wonder if that's what's wrong with that raccoon I caught yesterday. Or day before yesterday. We got another one last night. I uploaded the video. He wasn't as mean as the last one, but he was still pretty damn mean. Washington, D.C. power failure affects more than 30,000 customers. I think this is new. Yeah, so the Potomac, I can't talk tonight. Electric Power Company said the most of who lost service had their electricity restored after a few hours. Most of the 39,000 customers who lost electricity in the power failure in Washington on Saturday had their services restored. Does it say what happened? The Homeland Security and Emergency Management Agency urged motorists and pedestrians to exercise caution. You know, our infrastructure is screwed. And all these blackouts, you know, what are they doing? What are they giving us a sign? So Las Vegas got, you know, invaded by grasshoppers, but this is just strange, this article. And unusually wet year is responsible for the biblical seeming swarm of pallid-winged grasshoppers, according to the autonomous. I don't even know how to say it. I'm not going to try. But this is pretty weird because the swarm of winged insects enveloped a pyramid. An invasion of pallid-winged grasshoppers descended on Las Vegas this past week, taking over a strip and several of the city's most popular tourist spots, including the night skies above the luxury hotel and casino. The resort is a 30-story pyramid inspired by ancient Egypt. Says that the sky beam, a powerful column of light ensuing nightly from the peak of the pyramid, can be seen by airline pilots as far away as Los Angeles. But the beam has also become a magnet for grasshoppers. I just think that's pretty weird. So they're saying that the grasshoppers are drawn to the ultraviolet light. Why are they shooting up ultraviolet light up into space? Anyway, pretty good article. I'll make sure I'll get this in the description. In fact, I forgot to put these in there. I'll try to get them in there sometime here. So we've had more earthquakes, multiple casualties, houses damaged after a series of quakes hit the Philippines. I mean, you look at their infrastructure, man, they're definitely not set up for earthquakes. At least 8 people have been killed, dozens injured after a series of powerful earthquakes struck the northern Philippines. Substantial damage is being reported, and the earthquakes were only a 5.4 and a 5.9. So it just goes to show you, man, it depends on where you're at when these things hit. You know, how shallow are they? Hey, thanks out there, Ben. So, tons of damage. Oh, what's this here? South Dakota public schools now required to display in God we trust on the walls of the school. So there's a little win. Well, how long will it be before they take that down, or they'll be wanting to put up some satanic stuff next to it? That's what I'm looking for. So the Trump pardons the Oregon ranchers from the 2016 militia standoff. This wasn't a militia standoff. We covered a lot of this stuff over here. They killed the LeBoy guy. I think it was LeBoy. We had all the footage, which they've tried to delete it all. They said he was reaching for a gun. He didn't do anything of the kind. They just shot him and killed him. They spent a bunch of time in jail for some BS, but they're out now. Let me get some tabs moved around here. I gotta get some stuff moved around. All right, we'll get into this thing. Now I've been working on, I'm editing this video. Let me change scenes here. So, you know, we're always talking about, you know, how they're cloud seeding. I've been trying to edit this video for a couple days, man. This was like an hour and a half long video. God dang it, what did I do here? And let's see if I can get this where I wanted it. I probably messed it all up. I had it on a spot I wanted it on. But this is the Weather Modification Advisory Committee that took place on June 6, 2019. And they're talking about all the cloud seeding operations that they're doing over Texas. They even talked about how they seeded a storm that was a severe thunderstorm warning. They're also talking about electromagnetic rain making us. Let me see if I can get it on that part, if I can find it here. Yeah, it should be right here. Let me play this, see if you guys can hear this.
From the Texas Weather Modification Association and the U.S. Department of Agriculture to allow some experimental seeding of convective clouds to be done with electrostatically charged water droplets. And as you know, there have been a number of flights conducted in 2017 and again in 2018. And a paper was recently prepared, and it's in your folder, entitled Precipitation Enhancement in West Texas by Aerial Cloud Seeding Using Charged Water Droplets. As I stated earlier at the Weather Modification Association.
And this first part really just goes through the background of electrostatically charged droplets and kind of the theory of cloud seeding in this manner. I'm going to breeze through this because a lot of this is Archie.
So this was kind of new to me here. Hey, thanks there, Upright. The USDA, they're part of the cloud seeding programs. Did anybody know that? I didn't know that till I started listening to this. So they are one of the main players into the weather modification going on all over the place. But yeah, man, I'm gonna get this thing edited. I mean, it's still gonna be about an hour long, but it needs to be played. It needs to be shared because this is 100% proof that our storms are completely fabricated. They even talk about the NEXRAD when they seed the clouds and they explode up, and they talk about the inflows and outflows. They even talked about spraying molasses somewhere in here on the crops or in the air to try to clear the air of something. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, this video is, you can't deny that they're not engineering the weather after listening to this video. And like I said, this is the Weather Modification Advisory Committee. This is the Texas License Bureau. And then you got the USDA, and then you got all these other weather modification guys in here, man. And they're let's see if I can just play a little part of this too, if I can do it here.
Start to this year, and I'll talk more about that later when we discuss the permits, particularly the one for the Trans-Pecos region. Dr. Ruiz's comments can be summed up by saying the results are evaluated as excellent, and the seeding operations improve the dynamics of seeded clouds. So this analysis is consistent with those that he has provided for previous seasons, and is certainly an inducement for these.
there. A lot of large hail. Almost every day, somewhere between Fort Stockton and Sanderson, you have some type of massive.
Anyway, well, I'll get finished editing this. I'm about halfway through it. I've got it knocked down from an hour and 45 minutes down to an hour 17. I'll try to get it down to about an hour, and then I'll upload that thing. But yeah, man, 100% modifying the weather with no doubt. Let's take a quick look at the aerosols that were deployed today over the United States. Let me go ahead and play this thing. Now, we got completely waxed here in Missouri. I know it don't look like it, but this is a big waxing, but it starts coming down. Huge target area over Kansas, Nebraska. And we'll zoom in on this a little bit better. Yeah, I mean, it was just a mega spray job. I've got this thing zoomed in already so we can check it out a little bit closer version. And what you're looking at over here, first we'll look at these, all the targeted sprays right over the line, all through Missouri. And they start getting big old fat X's. But you can see the weather generating stations, the ground cloud seeders. You can see the power plants that are pumping out the water vapor over here. I drive by them all the time. They're seeding them from the ground, from the sky, and you just see these things just explode up, and then they follow right through where the aerosols were deployed. And then on top of that, we have the weather engineers admitting to the cloud seeding operations. I do have I forgot to change the scene. So I forgot to, you guys aren't seeing what I'm seeing. There we go. Now you can see what I'm seeing. Alright, so now you guys can see this cloud seeding operation going right up through the center of Kansas, center of Nebraska, all the way up into South Dakota, right where all these storms are firing up. And then these storms are following right where the aerosols were deployed. So definitely a messed up looking sky for these 4 or 5 states right here. I mean, it was just unnatural looking clouds. So you got plenty of sprays going on there in Iowa too. We get back over here to the full picture since I didn't get to show you that. You have aerosols being deployed off the East Coast over Florida. Huge swath of aerosols right there where Kentucky, Missouri, Indiana. A couple liners down there over the border of Mississippi, Alabama. Still bunker fuel floating in from the Pacific. And then you also had the fire smoke up in the north. We got aerosols being deployed up in Ohio, New York, Pennsylvania. About the only place that doesn't look like it's getting sprayed a whole lot right now is California. Oregon has the fires going on. And you got this weird low pressure system spinning, you know, not where it shouldn't be spinning like that there. So they still have the jet streams all messed up. They pushed off the trough. We'll take a quick look at that here in a minute here. Let me pause that. Jump over here to the world view map. Let me fix the screen. Now I was trying to look for some bunker fuel. I didn't get a lot of time to take a look at this, so let me just slap this on. But we got this really weird cloud formation down here by South America. It's the only one that looks like this. I mean, it's just freaky looking, and what do you know? You got a few ships down here by the Antarctic. So you have ship tracks down here. Quite a few of them, really. They're both going 2 different ways. So there should be no shipping lanes way down there in the Antarctic. So that's pretty wild. Strange area for the ship tracks here. I'm still looking here, seeing what I can find right here. So the Bajas is looking like they're not out here right now. And it's hard to tell in this mess because it's so full of the bunker fuel. Yeah, it's really hard to tell tonight. I can't really see them. They're not sticking out like real blatant. I'm sure they're out here. You got a few up here off the Kamchatka Peninsula. So you got there's almost always an operation up here. Definitely dwindled down by Japan. So right now I'm just seeing the ones up here off of Kamchatka, Russia, and they're not really picking up over here by Alaska. So we'll see if that shows up tomorrow. Let's go ahead and take that off. Take a look up here at some of the fires up here in Alaska, the Yukon. Still some aerosols being deployed up in the Arctic. We know they're getting ready to put the railway in under the Bering Strait. It's probably already built. It's probably already bored out. And we can take a look here. Oh, we got aerosols and fires in Washington. See if I can click that layer. I don't remember what all I got loaded here. So yeah, it looks like we got quite a few fires popping up there in Washington. And definitely down here in Oregon. You can see the wind change directions. So as long as they keep drying this area out, we're going to start seeing more and more fires being induced. Yeah, it don't look like a whole lot here. These aerosols don't look like a whole lot on here till you go and look at the GOES 16 to get the extent of this spraying operation. I mean, you can see it's pretty thick here over Kansas and Nebraska. You know, they gave the warning out several months ago saying this was going to be a big year for fires, even though they had all the flooding rains. That's because they're planned fires. You know, the PG&E, the people responsible, or at least one of the companies responsible for the fires in Paradise, they just raised everybody's taxes like by $2 billion. I mean, they are just getting screwed. So the people that didn't end up on the FEMA barges or missing are just completely financially getting screwed out of their land. And now they're paying just ungodly amounts of taxes and all kinds of stuff on this. I had an article on that, and I can't seem to find it now. Look, we got heavy aerosols going into Florida. So you're probably getting nighttime sprays right now. So everybody needs to detox, get some of these heavy metals out of your system. And we'll get a video on how to do that here shortly. Yeah, we got a mass spraying operation here around Florida. East Coast is getting a little break here. Don't worry, all this spraying operation is just going to come right on over. Maine's getting hit. Then out off the coast. Radical Rouse skies out there are pretty toxic probably right now. What do we got up here? Segmented spraying. Ooh, are these... We may have ship tracks over here. Let me look. Man, them are hard to tell. I think they are. They look like it. These are either some kind of strange aerosols, or they just moved a shipping operation out here in the Atlantic, which is pretty rare to be out here. Now, before the engineered heat wave and floods over in Europe, there was a shipping operation. So here they are again. So we're going to have to watch them come on over, and then we'll see this end up over in the UK and France. So we got some odd looking fabricated clouds up here in the Norwegian Sea. I mean, you could tell the man-made clouds by the color. Not to mention this thing looks like a demon or a sphinx or something. I'm trying to get it to low clear. Yeah, it does look like one. There's the horn, this pointy face with the eye. Looks just like a sphinx. I can't even talk. So UK is getting hammered right now really hard. Still see quite a bit of dust. Hard to tell there with Portugal. I thought I had some of this kind of loaded, but it's really not loaded that good. And of course it's completely clear there. They got the best weather on the planet. Alright, let me just kind of look over here a little bit. Aerosols being deployed over India again. Look at the fire smoke up here in Russia. What is going on up here in Russia? How could all these fires, like if you go back to different days, it's insane, because it looked like they dropped a cluster bomb up here. And the crazy thing, all these fires are perfectly in line with that railway that's coming through here, the one world government, the one world religion train that's going across the Bering Strait. You can follow the train plans and they go right where these fires are. I mean, it's just like right to the T. Pretty insane. Looks like we still have heavy aerosols over Australia. Looks like the fires are still going. Oh, they're getting bombarded in this southern part of Australia. Out here off the Tasmanian Sea's getting sprayed. Let's go check New Zealand. If I get it to load, I can definitely tell the colors are showing signs of aerosols being deployed, but yeah, you're getting really bombarded here in northern Victoria. That's a heavy spraying operation. Actually, the whole southern part of Australia is getting clobbered right now. Tons over the north, still got the fires, still plenty of fires. They're doing the same thing. They spray the aluminum. Wow, that's the same signature cloud that happened before that hurricane, or that wiped out a bunch of people there just a couple weeks ago. That's the same signature, the same sign of the weather engineering. So it looks like there could be another big time storm going on over here in the far west. Yep, they're spraying a bunch of aerosols in with it. Hey, thanks out there, Bamboo. Got a nice crowd out there. Welcome in if you're joining us here on YouTube or over on Twitch, or if you're there at the D Live. Just trying to show everybody that this stuff is really going on, man. This weather is all engineered. No such thing as normal weather for any state, because if you're affecting it over in the Middle East, it's affecting us over here. It's all tied together. Let's go ahead and check the tropical cyclone page. And we have a tropical storm Eric out here. That thing's not going to hit nobody. Then we still have the Invest 90E. Let's go ahead and check the Mimic map. See if there's anything normal coming back to it. Yeah, you got to wonder what what's going on. Yeah, mods are doing a good job out there. All right, so let's take a look. This is the Rivers of the Sky. We show the video clips all the time of the companies that steer this atmospheric river. This was the main cause of the floods in the Midwest. This is what washed away the evidence of the Paradise Fires. California was in a complete drought until the Paradise Fires. And soon as that fire was over, this atmospheric river was intentionally steered right over Paradise and completely washed away the evidence. Now this thing is still not looking normal whatsoever. It's not doing the wispy waves like it should be, especially in the northern hemisphere. And it's definitely not being, waving down to the Antarctic. It's like it's being compressed to the equator. Something's going on. They're definitely affecting this atmospheric river, just like they do the rivers on the ground. So yeah. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go look at. I want to check the RAM slider. I haven't checked that in a while. We'll check the northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere for any kind of plasma releases. All right, let's go ahead and check the northern hemisphere first. Yeah, man, it's the New World Order. It's the Georgia Guidestones. They want to try to make you think the Earth is being overpopulated when it's not. They're trying to make you think you're the cause of the global warming, but you're not. It's climate control. They have their hands on the thermostat. They are the ones that are controlling the climate. They say they want to mimic volcanoes, but yet we have volcanoes going off everywhere. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. It's all because they want to bring in the New World Order. They want to bring in the one world government, the one world religion. They want total control. It's weird. This thing is not animating. Why is that? There we go. It's trying to go now. You can see the ice. They're melting it right around Alaska. Look at it. It's all melted right here. That's where the train is going in. They completely melted that area. You still see the ice over the north. But it's looking pretty thin. And an intentional meltdown. Not seeing any kind of plasma up here in the north. Let's check the southern hemisphere. And just fair warning out there, if you're out there in the chat, if you're going to try to talk about the flat earth and all that stuff, or Planet X, or any of that crap, then your comments will just be removed, because we're trying to wake people up. We want people to learn about this weather modification, and we don't need crap like that in the chat, because somebody new could come in here and then they see a bunch of flat earth talk when we're not talking about the flat earth today. You can go back and watch my older videos on that. Definitely have plasma being released down here in the southern hemisphere big time. A lot of plasma lightning. Yeah, we got to keep the conversation on topic. All right, so yeah, there's definitely some funny business going on. A little bit of electromagnetics going on down here right below Australia, of all places. We know who runs that territory, who works that weather engineering area. Let's go ahead and check the Earth null. And I couldn't remember if I showed you guys last night over here, if I still got it up. At the, it's clear enough over here. You can see the dead zone from the floods. So you can see where the, let me see if I can get it even clearer. Hey, thanks out there, Susan. Much love out there to San Francisco. So you can see how the everything's nice and green around here, and you got to kind of look through the chemtrails here in Missouri. But right here's the Missouri River coming down, and you can see everything's dead all the way to this highway right here. This is 29 highway. And we're talking some parts of this is like 20 miles. It's a long ways. It's a long ways from this river to that highway, but yet the whole damn thing is underwater. This is like the Gulf of Missouri now. This is all a dead zone. Now check this out. If I go back to last year, you're going to see there was no dead zone. Look, there's no dead zone. It's all green throughout the whole area. Then we go back up to this year. Boom, dead zone all the way up. I mean, all the way from Omaha all the way down to Kansas, or actually St. Joe. It actually extends all the way down into Kansas City. And then look at this dead zone out here. This is around 210 highway. And check this out. We'll go back a year. Look, it don't even show up a year ago. You barely see where the river was. Look now. Giant dead zones everywhere. Farmland after farm. Yeah, there's Carrollton. This is all farmland. Look, it goes all the way down to Columbia, Missouri. Huge swaths of dead zone. Then here's the Mississippi River, same damn thing. They've just took out millions of acres of farmland. And the mainstream media will not talk about this. You can see it's flooded way, we're talking maybe 100 miles across that. That's a long ways. So mega dead zones now around all the rivers in the Midwest. And I haven't looked way down. But yeah, that's pretty mind-blowing when you look at it right there. Definitely better get you something growing by next year. Or, start it this winter. Grow it inside in your windows. Let's go ahead and check the polar vortex winds. If you didn't watch last night's broadcast, go watch it, because I showed how they engineered the polar vortex. I mean, it's so blatant. They steered that polar vortex right over the United States. They pushed it around from the Russia-China region over the United States. It went too far, so then they heated the sky from the other way, and they pushed it back, and then they parked it over the United States for months. Completely blatant. Now, I think what's going on with our atmospheric rivers, look at these winds. These winds are just mega winds at the equator. It's normally not like that. I mean, it's not that bad. Here, let's go back a year just to check. Or, hell, let's go back to the El Nino year and just see. So, in the El Nino year, it was really weak. That looks pretty normal. Let's go check 2017. So 2017 was pretty high in just areas, like not the whole thing was high. Let's try 2018. Yeah, 2018 was really weak. That's pretty normal. So yeah, like right now though, let's get it back on now. Look at this. We have super high winds in the troposphere right where the atmospheric river is. Like, what are they doing? I mean, what is this crazy wind field down here by Madagascar? What is that? So, something strange there going on at the equator. Let's go ahead and check the jet stream. Alright, so the jet stream. It's all freaked out. Like, let me look around here. Let me go around. Yeah, the jet stream looks more like the vortice level. So it's been all chopped up and hacked up. It's not even really making sense. Here's what's left of that trough. Why is it still there? Let me back this up a day. You know, we're not seeing the big bunker fuel operations out there unless they're being hidden. So that is the same trough. How can it still be there? Look, these polar winds don't stop moving. The trough can't still be in the same spot unless it's being steered to be in the same spot. So it's still there. That's crazy. So we still have this weird trough, and then the jet stream's just all split apart. We're actually starting to get a little, you know, the winds are still right there over New Mexico, Arizona. While I'm here, I want to check the temperatures. We'll take the winds off so I can see a little better. Just kind of looking for the heating events, like if they're doing a rapid heating event of the ionosphere. See, they got it pretty heated up over the north. And look, this is really close to where we were seeing that plasma lightning down the southern hemisphere. So they're doing a little rapid heating event right there. Yep, there's Madagascar right there. So yeah, it looks like some kind of electromagnetic engineering going on, or some low frequencies. Go ahead and check out the sea surface temperatures. Yeah, people just don't listen. They don't get it. Hey, thanks out there, Patrick. Much love out there. So here we are looking at the ocean temperatures. Wow, look at that. The thing is turned into like a line. Remember right here was really, really hot, but now it's not. So we're not seeing any kind of heating from the ocean where that heat anomaly is. The Gulf of Mexico is getting really hot. The water's getting stagnant because there's no currents running through there. Let's check out the sea surface temperature anomalies. And there's where all the heating is. They're heating this up. And when we looked at the polar regions, this is exactly where they melted the ice. The ice is still where that blue is. We've seen that on the Ram slider. You know, I don't know if this is volcanic activity going on under the ocean. Whatever they're doing, they're definitely heating the pole up. They want to get that railway in. They must need to melt the permafrost or something. No heating event to the anomalies. So yeah, that's pretty crazy right there. Let's check the currents out. So we're getting a little bit of currents, but right here's where all that super hot water is. See, these currents, you know, they used to kind of run around in here a little bit better. That's what keeps the water circulated. But it's almost like you have a whirlpool right there in the middle. So all the algae bloom is just staying stagnant right there in the Gulf of Mexico. That's what, you know, on top of all the flood waters going in, the water's not getting circulated. All right, let's go ahead and check the carbon monoxide. Look at the fires up. Okay, so these are the fires up in Russia. All this stuff up here is the fires up in Russia. Right here, this is just the air in China. Now, what's pretty crazy, over here in India, it used to be as bad as China, but they planted like a bunch of trees, like millions of trees within like a 20-day period. And I swear their carbon dioxide has gone down ever since. Let's look at this. Let's see what it looked like last year at this time. Hey, thanks there, Fed Up. Nice super chat there, brother. So did it load? Yeah, that's not as bad. But yeah, we've seen this completely in the black. Just the air quality. There wasn't no fires going on. And we can see the fires up here in Alaska are being picked up. The fires up here in Canada. And we got a new little spot fire right there. Something going on. Then look, here's the fires going on in Oregon. Super. I think this is all the bunker fuel being trapped. Or the Aliso Canyon is still leaking methane out of the ground. You know, we've had all these earthquakes. Swarms of earthquakes, probably have magma on the move, so you got a lot of the carbon monoxide seeping up out of the ground. You got tar coming up out of the ground. That's a weird signature. It's almost a square. This is a volcano down there, and then look, we're in some pretty bad carbon monoxide right now. East Coast looks horrible. So, yeah, I mean, this is mainly the bunker fuel, the fire smoke, the chemtrails all trapping it in. That's why it's so high right now. You know, on top of that, we got the Sahara dust coming in. Let's check the carbon dioxide. You know, there's no fires over here in Southern California. What is going on, man? They're getting hit with some off-the-chart air. In fact, so is the East Coast. So the East and the West. It's just as bad as the fires, but there's no fires. It's just like trapped aerosols, trapped bunker fuel, trapped heat from all the concrete and crap. It's pretty crazy here. If you go back to, I think we can go back to 2014. Nope. We have to go to 2015. Now this was really getting crazy when all the volcanoes went off a while back. Look at the Earth. This is 2015. I didn't change the colors. This is what it looked like in 2015. The darker the air, you know, on this chart, the least carbon dioxide is. So when you look at this, and this is 2015, and then you go to now, we have a serious situation with the carbon dioxide. Plants should be growing everywhere. But yeah, we're getting up into the super lights. It was actually much worse a couple months ago. It's actually starting to rebound. It almost looked like we were looking at Venus. Bunker fuel is what we're looking at right here. These lines right here. These are from the cargo ships, the shipping lanes, and what they're doing is they're burning bunker fuel. It's like the leftovers of making fuel. It's the muck and the crap, and it's really toxic and dirty, and it's leaving so much sulfur dioxide in the air that these maps can pick it up. So, and it's supposed to be regulated, but they ease the regulations because they say it's helping battle the climate change. It's also called cloud brightening. It's called, they call it accidental geoengineering, marine brightening, and it's all a lie. It's all on purpose. But these things here are way worse than any kind of man-made car or anything. I mean, these things are really, really bad. So bunker fuel is really toxic. I showed you the Pandora fog exercise where the military is actually making carbon fiber clouds. So there's all kinds of man-made clouds. They're also using the salt water to make clouds. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff going on. Like, you can't even keep up with all of the man-made weather operations that are going on. Yeah, I'm sure it's got coal, fly ash, it's got everything in it. So yeah, so now we got on top of what I just showed you. I showed you the sulfur, the carbon. Now we have this. This is dust coming from the Saharan desert. I mean, this stuff is a carcinogen. We've been getting hit wave after wave with this stuff. It's coming up through the Gulf of Mexico, and it's mixing in with all the bunker fuel, all the chemtrails. And this is why everybody has a chest infection. This is why antibiotics won't even work. This stuff is super toxic. We can jump over here. It's probably more like the PM10s. The PM10s or PM10 particulate matter. Yeah, it's coming up a little better on the PM10s, which are still microns. I mean, these things are real little. These things are so little that they go straight into the bloodstream, straight into the lungs, straight into the brain. In the smaller, the 2.5s, these are really even way more toxic. And then you get down to the PM1s, and you're talking all these are deadly. If you were locked in a room with this stuff, it could kill you like in 20 minutes. So this is why everybody's having a tough time with the coughs and the sinus headaches and all that crap. It's because our air is just toxic right now. And it has been, and it all stems from these waves and waves of dust coming over here. And why is it coming over here? It's because of that freak wind pattern that we showed you right here at the equator, a little north of the equator. It's like they're doing this on purpose, like they're blowing all the dust out of the desert, shipping it over here. Then they're going to flood this area out and turn it green again. That's what they Book of Allah, man. That's what they talk about, turning the deserts green. That's part of the one world religion thing that they're trying to do. Still the New World Order and all that stuff. Like, I can use this map right here. This kind of tells you pretty much where the chemtrails are. This is the sulfate extinction map. And normally where you see a lot of this is where the heavy aerosols are. And it looks like it lines up pretty damn good. Also the bunker fuel and the fire, definitely picks it up. So what I wanted to do real quick was go ahead and look at the precipitation forecast here. I had a yawn, man. I started getting super tired, man. It's like we have no energy anymore. So here's where our rain events are going to be. Mexico, right there by Wisconsin, Iowa. Let's take this up 3 hours or a day. So that range is going to stay in that. It's going to be like a monsoon down there. So nothing too big going on right now with the weather. We'll do the weather forecast tomorrow. We'll do the 16-day forecast. So here we got the that tropical storm. It's not going to hit anything. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and call this a show. Want to thank everybody that shares this information, gets it out there. We know YouTube is censoring the crap out of us, hiding everything, demonetizing. And if they're not demonetizing, after I do the manual review, then they put way too many commercials in it. I mean, it's just ridiculous. They try to make you not watch the video. Watch it anyway. Fast forward through that crap, whatever you got to do. Anyway, guys, much love. We will catch you tomorrow on the 16-day forecast. We're going to hit a song called Rise. And then we're going to play our fight song, and then we'll play our victory song. Anyway, guys, much love. Be safe out there. Armor up. Armor up. Armor up any way you can. Anyway, guys, much love. Here we go. We'll hit Rise.